Welcome, guys. We had quite the reversal today after yesterday's 150 point move, and that's something that we've seen a lot within the past month. A couple weeks ago, we had a nice move to 4,500 over a 2-day period, and 4,500 is a key level. We slightly broke it, and they rejected off of there and just tumbled down over 100 points. And then just last week, similar. We had a 120 point move to 4,300, key level, couldn't break it. The next day, sold off over 100 points. And now today. Great 150 point move yesterday, and just at the open, just a straight sell off and almost 200 points. So it just confirms that we have been in a downtrend overall since really the beginning of this year, right? And any sort of rip, any sort of gains have just been sold into, and that's just confirmed again today. So bigger picture, don't fight the trend until we can actually hold some of these gains. We just focus on day trading and scalping here, but if you're looking to hold for a month or whatever, I'd prefer the short side at this point rather than the long side, because you're going against the trend if you're trying to hold a long position for a month or so. Here's the peak of 4,800 back in January, and just a steady downtrend from there. All right, so going into today, even though this has happened a couple times, this is not something that I anticipated. Anything's a possibility, but I knew we had the supply zone here at 42.82, 90-minute zone that was almost broken yesterday. Didn't fully break it, so I left it there. Sometimes these still hold well. We also created a 4-hour supply zone in the midnight or overnight session, kind of middle of the overnight session here at 42.92. Good sell-off from there. And those are really only two supply zones that I was really looking for at the beginning of the day. I wanted these to break because I knew 4,300 was a key level before we've considered anything else. But we did have a nice 43.11 1-hour zone here if we do break this. Two supply zones on the demand side. We really didn't have a whole lot. We had that 150 point move yesterday, but we didn't create any demand out of it, at least not in the middle. Usually on these moves, you'll see some healthy consolidation. Let some new buyers come in the market, create some demand, but we didn't get that. We had this 90-minute demand zone that was created before this 150 point move, but other than that, that's it. This is 150 points almost from overnight highs. So I knew, hey, if we come back here and test this the next day, it's more than likely going to break. And that's typically what happens. When we make these big moves, kind of like, let's see. We had this, 2-3 week uptrend here about a month ago. This is a similar move like what we had yesterday. We made this big move, and usually these zones aren't tested for, a week, really a month. And that's what happened here. But when they're retested, the next day or even the day after, it's a sign of severe weakness. We couldn't hold these gains. So once we get into this demand zone, more than likely going to break. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go short off it right when we get there. I'm still going to analyze the candles, see if we actually do look weak. And if we do look weak, that's when we're short until it breaks. And that's actually the only play that I had today. But below that demand zone, we have another 90-minute right below 4,100 that we almost got to today. So we got two supply zones, 2 demand zones, and then overnight highs right above 4,300, overnight lows right at 4,250. And let's walk through it. Let me zoom out on the 5-minute chart. All right, so right at the open, we sell off a little bit, try to consolidate for about 10 minutes, which is exactly what we saw yesterday before a heavier sell-off. So consolidated here for 10 minutes, rejected off of overnight lows, and then sold off. And from there, it's just a straight downtrend. As we get to 9 o'clock, we're already almost 100 points from overnight highs, which is a clear sign of weakness. At 9 o'clock, a lot of candles close, and that's when we had confirmed 90-minute supply zone. So now we have a new supply zone created. Chart that out. $90-minute. And that's a little closer than these supply zones, so that gives us a chance to come up here and take a short off of that. But that's still, 50, 60 points from where we're at right now at 9 o'clock. So knew that probably wasn't possible. And at 9 o'clock, I also like to analyze who's in control for the day. Our sellers in control, our buyers in control. And at this point, sellers are clearly in control. We're down, like I said, almost 100 points from overnight highs. I need to see new demand on at least a 15-minute chart get created and then come back and retest it for any long positions. So at 9 o'clock, I know sellers are in control. The only plays I'm going to play are just shorting unless we create a new 15-minute demand zone. At least a new 15-minute demand zone. 30-minute, 45-minute, an hour, whatever, it's got to be bigger than a 15-minute demand zone. 9 o'clock, we keep on coming down. We're breaking 4,200 now. 4,200 acted as pretty good resistance past couple of days. Typically, resistance becomes support. So this should have acted as some decent support. At least consolidate here for a little bit, but we didn't really get that. Consolidate here for about 10 minutes and just continued its path down. So more downward pressure. Nothing stopping it until we get to this 90-minute demand zone that was created yesterday. And at this point, okay, now I'm kind of getting ready to make a trade. I'm looking a little bit closer at it. I see on the 5-minute chart, we actually do get some decent 5-minute buying here, but still making lower highs, right? One minute. All right, so still making some lower highs and then sell off again. Once we sell off and get further into this 90-minute demand zone, one, you're already pretty far in the demand zone, so that invalidates it for me. I already wasn't going to go long anyways because sellers are in control, but it invalidates this demand zone, so I'm getting closer to taking a short. I see some low 5-minute buying here. At this point, yeah, I'm ready. I'm looking for a spike. I'm looking for something closer to a previous lower high because that would be my risk. And so I'm turning my eyes to the 1-minute chart. Here's where that low 5-minute buying was. We're starting to come up, getting closer to that previous lower high. Looking for weakness on the 1-minute chart now. And here we go. We got a peak. We got some selling coming in. Now we have some lack of buying on the 1-minute chart. I've already seen weakness on the 5-minute chart. Now I'm seeing weakness on the 1-minute chart. All right, let's go. I get my first short, or only short, at about 41.67 with profits wanting to be taken right about 41.40. I just wanted this low to break again. Wanted this demand zone to break. I guess it kind of did break right here, but wanted it to break again this low, and then I was going to take my profits there, especially with all the volatility today and all the range. At this point, it's a 20, 25 point short down here, so I'm more than happy with that. I'm not looking for a 50-point short. I'm usually happy with a 10-point short, but today with the volatility, this is more than enough. So I get here, I get in at 41.67. There's no such thing as an easy trade, but it's really just a straight downfall from here. In 10 minutes or less, I get to my goal, and I will go ahead and take all my profits there. But this demand zone's firmly broken at that point, and we continue just to sell off. Still no demand zones being created, nothing on at least a 15-minute chart. We find some bids at a little bit above 4,100, and that's where we balance for the rest of the day. Until about 2 o'clock. So from 11, when we touch 41.15 here, to about 2 o'clock, we just balance here in this 41.20 zone to, about 41.60s. Just bounce. And that's typically what we see, right? The first hour of the day and the last hour of the day is when you're going to get your bigger moves. First hour of the day, we got over 100-point sell-off. Second hour, the last hour of the day, we really didn't get a whole lot. But the first hour of the day definitely got a good move. So midday, in between this balance zone, we created a 15-minute supply zone here at about 11 o'clock. So if you're just scalping on the 1-minute chart, you could have got some good scalps here. Scalp, 10, 15 points, 20 points, comes up, almost breaks it, doesn't. Makes a lower high here. Could have possibly got a short off of that. See that in the 5-minute chart. Almost broke, lower high, lower high, lower high, and just continues to make lower highs. We also create a 45-minute zone at about 130, which is a little bit cleaner than that 15-minute zone. Let me lower it. Now, I don't think we touched that till the end of the day. Write that out. So there's your 45-minute zone. Close at 130. It's about 130 here on the 5-minute chart. We almost got up there and rejected off of it. Didn't quite get there. Sold off, made a new low, and had a nice bounce at 4,100. And this is 30 minutes before the close. This is where we make finally our first demand zone of the day on at least a 15-minute chart. It happens to be an exact 15-minute demand zone. Here's a drop base rally. Here's your basing candle, and it rips from there. So let me write this out. 15-minute. Color it green. All right, so like I said, we're about 30 minutes to the close here. This closes, I take that back, we're about 15 minutes to the close here because the 15-minute rip candle from that demand zone actually didn't close till about 2:45. So here we are on the 1-minute chart, 2:45. We have that new 15-minute demand zone, and it slams down from there right into our zone. Low selling there in that zone. I mean, it's just there for 2-3 minutes, and then 10 minutes before the bell, got a nice 40-point rip out of that. So hey, if you're just playing off the 1-minute chart, here's a perfect entry for you. Get a nice move off of that. And that set us up for some momentum going into the close. And from there, we closed right at about 41.50, touching our 45-minute supply zone. And that's kind of where we've been hanging for the last couple hours. So actually got some decent momentum on the long side the last 30 minutes of the day. But other than that, the first 7 hours a day, however long the day is, really just selling to control, and just a straight sell-off for the first couple hours. Got some consolidation, and then some bids came in towards the end of the day. So a good day. All we need is one trade every now and then. We got a good one today. Just that one short off of that downtrend, and then 2-3 hours of a balance period, and then created our first 15-minute demand zone and ripped out of there. So we'll see what the overnight session does, and we'll get some new zones going into tomorrow, and see if we can get some more good trades off of it. And until then, I'll see y'all then.